Yes, it is court in session. And tonight we start with, on a somber note, we are paying homage to Shakira Shorey, the second vice president of the Basketball Association. Shakira would have lost her battle with cancer just over a week ago. Some things that a lot of people don't know about Shakira, like she was one of the basketball players in Barbados who had a basketball scholarship. And she would have probably negotiated that entire scholarship alone. I mean, most of it by herself, speaking to the coaches, getting everything set up. And she went overseas. She did fairly well. She got her associate degree in PE. Something else they don't know is that she was a qualified FIBA official and also a certified FIBA coach. So she was a real basketball person. She taught PE at Dal Jordan. I had the privilege to work with her for a term, I think around 2017 or so. And, I was really impressed by how she was able to command the young people, at Dal Jordan. And she was always proud of them. She always would post stuff with Dal Jordan and, doing good things. So yes, she was one of those people that, was really heavily into the basketball and for most of her entire life. I would really like to offer my condolences to her family, her friends, and especially her daughter, Saraya, and also to the Basketball Association, who will now be losing a valued member of their executive. Right, so now, second round. Well, the Pineland Strain keep on chugging along. They take care of the Spartans. Spartans really, hoping that this season could come to an end. I think they really need, I think that they're hoping that the season comes to an end and that all of them retain their clothes and stuff. And then, well, the big game of the evening was the Cavaliers and Bulls. But before we got the big game, we saw Lakers taking out Warriors, which give Lakers a little bit more breathing room as it relates to relegation. Although the relegation shirt is firmly on Spartans, but that would give them some breathing room. And also would put Spartans on some stress. The final game of the night, though, was the Bulls versus the Cavaliers. And I'll let you take that one, since that you were closely
associated. Yeah. Also, before I start, I'd like to give my condolences as well to her friends, her family. Jody, baby, you pretty much hit the nail on the head in terms of everything. You would have known her better. I know that you were speaking for obviously court session, but I just also want to give my condolences as well. Bulls and Cavs.
Well, you're getting closer. The first one I lost by 2. This one I lost by 1. So I think I flipped the other side. No game can't draw. So you.
No, because realistically speaking, we beat them in the 2 games in knockout, so we should. So like I mean, I don't know. I guess you could argue that Ron didn't play in the 2 knockout games, but I mean, still, like Bijan didn't play in this game, so like still kind of wow. So all right, Bulls and the Cavs. That game, Simeon had 34 points, 7 rebounds. He kind of took over late, right? First half it wasn't really as much, but he kind of took over late. Ben had 21 or 16. He's been rebounding very well this entire season. Can't remember if he's still leading, but I know at one point he was leading in rebounds. Well, still, he's basically a double threat every night. Cavs was a more balanced effort. Devron has 16, Gavin has 16, so you have 40. They have 5 players in double digits, right? But as per usual, it's a pretty physical game. Cavs, Bulls, always physical games. Cavs, Pinelands physical game. Cavs, Celtics. Like that, you can see the recurring trend is Cavs. Always gonna be physical game. And Marshall also had like 19 and 10 too. But yeah, it was obviously for a Bulls fan, not a Bulls fan, for somebody who's backing Bulls, you obviously want the game to swing the other way. For as a fan standpoint, I guess like that's like that was a really good game. A lot of people were saying that it was a close game. It went Bulls were down 13 or whatever, a little late. Yep, and then they made a comeback. Man hit a three to tie it and send it into overtime. And it was just back and forth through. I don't think the lead went more than 2 in overtime. It was just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then to lose by 1, obviously. So one side you gotta lose, and unfortunately it was slap on this end.
I didn't think Raheem and I think Caleb and somebody else.
Yeah.
They didn't really have a good shooting night as such.
Yeah.
Right. I think Marsh was just like subpar. It was all right, but it wasn't Marsh like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I if I was Bulls, I would not be too disappointed. I mean, you will meet them again.
Yeah. The way it's shaping out, the way how it's shaping out right now, obviously still have to play Celtics one more time. But if we beat Celtics, is that if we beat Celtics or we don't lose to Celtics? Obviously, you're going in the game thinking about losing, but I think we beat them by 3 last time. So in order to not fall to that 4, we would end up having to lose to them by 4 points. But if we take care of Celtics, then we be in that 2-3 seed, and then we play Cavs again for the 5th, 6th, and possibly 7th time this season.
Yeah, but I know that Celtics and Bulls is Bulls have extra motivation when they meet Celtics because of the defections from Bulls. And I watched that first game. I mean, Raheem didn't look like a guy who wasn't planning to lose again to the Celtics. So I know that they got extra. I know a little extra for the Celtics. Also, Pinelands got a little extra for the Celtics as well because their coaches was gone. But I mean, I think he did the right thing. I think Charles did the right thing to go. You cannot be the assistant coach of the Barbados national team and don't coach your own team. So and I don't think taking over Pinelands to me would not be really coaching. That would just be getting on for the right.
It's I think talents though.
I think him building something and showing that really showing his worth it was a good thing. Of course, the pool of players are so small that they will have people who will defect. So I understand the defections and how people motivated to play against Celtics, but I really enjoy the fact that the Celtics. The only thing I did not like about the Celtics emerged, their ascendancy was that they destroyed the Spartans, and I always felt that Spartans, being a team from the country, to get the basketball diversified, not only in city, but also in the country as well, especially top league. I thought that I'm just sorry that it happened to them, but it is what it is. And and so I think the Bulls, Celtics, Pinelands games, those games are going to be interesting. Let me put it at that.
Definitely. I think Celtics got a play point on Tuesday. So I think they have to play them tomorrow. Yeah. So like that should be another. I just say whenever we got those games like that between the four, you're always looking for something. I believe Celtics would have playing putting there's 3 times so far, 2 times in the semis and 1 time in the thing. And while they may not win, I'm sure Celtics plan and game plan is to always find things that they got better at for the next game, right? Because if you be losing the same way or losing the same way over and over to the same team, it will show that you're not really improving. But I'm sure that if Charles is seeing things that that the team is improving on, playing which is the best team in the tournament right now, I'm pretty sure that he'd be happy. Even in a loss, obviously you never want to lose a game, but even in a loss, if he sees progress from the previous game, I'm pretty sure that he'd be happy.
Yeah, I am I look forward to that game tomorrow. But then the Bulls Celtics game will be very interesting because
Yeah,
that could be determining who will come at number 3.
yeah,
Pointless in the semifinals, right?
agreed.
I think any team that wants to win this championship needs to be disciplined, and there needs to be discipline for 48 minutes and not only 40. But I think also Pinelands beating teams on the fact that they've been playing together for a while, and what they really do is put pressure on 1, 2, and 3, extreme pressure, so that you to hide their glaring hole in the middle. So they make sure your guards are under extreme pressure every single time.
Yeah,
To beat Pinelands, you need to be patient and also disciplined. And
agreed.
I have not seen any patience or any discipline coming from some of these top teams. If you get in a run up and down game of Pinelands, they can beat you. If you get into not running your things and just playing freelance ball, they'll beat you. You need to be disciplined, not saying that you have to be methodical and robotic, but you have to be disciplined as to what you want to do against them. And to me, they are very soft on the inside. And once you have a situation where you can exploit that, you can get them some trouble. I'm not saying you're going to win, but I say you will give them a lot of trouble.
Agreed.
Right.
Definitely
So
agree.
that's it for the first, first 4 games, the second round.
Yeah.
And we look forward to the next week. It should be really interesting. And that's the BABA. And up next will be the Bajan Scout Alan Pinder. Yes, and of course, we are joined by Alan Pinder. This is the Bajan Scout. Everything NBA is Mr. Pinder. But tonight I want to start with Kelan. What was the 2 or 3 things that surprised you in this season? I mean, like, was really surprising. A team or a situation. Tell me what you think.
I got like a team per conference. The OKC Thunder. I thought that they made like a jump a year earlier than I expected. Like I thought that in terms of record that they would have maybe like tried to contend for like a 4th, 5th seed this year. Because last year they would have barely missed the playoff. They were playing, and then they got beat. But I thought that they would have made it push maybe for 4 or 5. Chet has been really important to their push and their internal development, right? SGA taking a step, Jay Williams taking a step. Just their cohesion as a team with Shea Alexander being the leader. I thought that they made the jump to being the number 1 seed in West right now. That was a kind of a shock for me. I just say I thought they were 1 year early. Do I think that they may be like the top of the contenders? No, I still think that maybe they might be 1 or they might be a piece away, but still to have the best record in the West kind of surprised me. I'm not gonna lie. I thought that they'd be good, but not this good, right? And for the East, I got the Magic, right? The Magic, they had some young pieces, right? But I'm pretty sure everybody was surprised that early up there were either the one seed, or there was sometimes hovering around the top three. And I know there were a lot of people who probably thought it's a hot start. They might drop to all the way they playing. They may even drop off. They might hover around 500. But they had a little stretch where they struggled a little bit, and then they found themselves again. Like they found themselves again. They're I think the fifth seed right now. Or
Yeah, they're
yeah,
fifth.
and they're hovering around 4 or 5. They could easily
Actually,
still
yeah, they're half game behind the
next
Knicks.
week.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they could actually have home court advantage in the first round. And I'm pretty sure if anybody said the Orlando Magic are gonna have the home court advantage in the first round for the playoffs next year, I'm pretty sure nobody would have expected that. I think Paulo Banchero is very I think he's a very good player. I don't think he gets as much coverage for like a former #1 pick for like last year. I guess maybe kind of to all the media spotlight, but as a #1 pick. But I think he's very good. The team still needs some offense, but they're very good defensively. They got some young Frank Wagner. They have some young players, and they're coached very well. So I think those are two surprises in terms of team so far.
What about you, Alan? Who you had?
Yeah, actually, a team that I thought would have been very similar to the Magic, another young team. I was very surprised that the Pistons were as bad as they turned out to be. Because they have a very good young player, kid. He was pretty good on the Team USA select team. And I have a couple of guys like Jalen doing around there as well. So they have some good young players. They brought in Monty Williams, thought he would have, been the right type of coach for the right situation with these young guys, but everything just came out very flat. And I mean, they were essentially one of the worst teams all the time. They are playing a little better right now, and they're no longer the worst in the NBA. I think that's the Wizards right now. But yeah, I was surprised that they turned out to be as bad as they were, given the time they have and given the coaching they have. They have. So that was quite surprising to me. And in the West, I was quite surprised that the Minnesota Timberwolves were as good as they turned out to be as well. Basically, #1, #2 seed for most of the year. Unfortunately, the injury to Cat, but even though they were a 500 team last year, I didn't realize they were a top 10 in defense. I know they're #1 defensive team this year. So that trade that was supposed to be a disaster, they managed to get those two big guys. Because I mean, one of the main things you say, you really can't defend with two big guys like that. I mean, Cat 4, and that defense is not going to work. But they somehow leverage out to the best defense in the NBA. So I was really quite surprised that they were able to do as well as they did. That's really quite impressive coaching job there by Finch. Yeah, to have that team as good as they are. The only issue is that I think their offensive efficiency is like 18th in the league. So with Cat being out, I think that's really going to affect them. So hopefully he can get back soon. I mean, that surgery is the type of surgery that Embiid is having. So yeah, it's going to be a rough one for both of those teams. And an honorable mention for a player, Jordan Poole. Didn't think he was going to be this terrible. I figured coming from the Warriors, yeah, he would have benefited from playing off Steph and Clay and those guys and playing within that Warriors system. But to me, I think he showed enough talent ways that he should have had a decent season. I wasn't on board with some people saying that he was going to have a James Harden type season. That was a little out there to me, but I figured he could have. I mean, last year he was a 20 points per game scorer. I figured he'd probably maintain in that range, probably get a few more boards, a few more assists since he has the ball. His hands even more, but he was so bad he even got benched. But funny enough, since he's been benched, he's actually been playing a lot better. His efficiency's gone up. So I think it's just a mental thing with him. I think he actually might potentially rebound next year and have a better year next year if he gets his head in order. Because I think a lot of it is maturity for him right now.
Boy, Alan.
My issue though is I know players when the scouting report is on them.
Boy.
When the scouting report is on the other fella, right? It's fine. Everything is fine. But when the scouting report is on you and they're looking at all your tendencies and things, that tells me if you can play or not. And to me, he was found wanting. I'm not saying that he will not have a good year or he will not rebound, but I'm saying that he was found wanting. And also, I think he was a little too arrogant for, for the situation that he was in. This is now his team and all that pretty talk, and he can show them what he can do. And all he did was show that when the scouting report wasn't him, he rolled over meekly and went on the bench. So
Kuma was laying across out. Who team? This team? This might we might got a problem.
I think Kuzma really stepped up his game too.
Yeah.
So the surprises for me though was I had one that I didn't expect that Lakers would be so far down. I expected them to be around like 5th or 6th, but to me they regress more than they have progressed from last year. I noticed now that the Denver Nuggets now really stopping, really showing out now, that the championship is still passing through the Mother City. So now they're like 1 game behind OKC.
Yeah.
And we'll start to see. You always say that after the All-Star break, you know who is who, and you know who's the contenders versus the pretenders. So you know that Denver is a contender, and any of those teams that right now, if they stay at 2, they will play Sacramento. I don't think Sacramento got a prayer. So once everybody's healthy. Also, honorable mention for Sacramento as well. I thought they would have been a little bit better as well. I thought that, based on after the year with, how well they played and carried the Warriors to 7 games and that sort of stuff, I thought they still okay, well, there's a young team now that will push, but what has happened is that they have been replaced by the Timberwolves, basically. Where the Timberwolves is where I expected them to be. But I still feel that the championship passed through the Mother City. I don't think anybody could challenge that. Oh, well, in the West, that is.
Quick question on the Lakers, though, because what you mentioned is surprising because we figured that once AD would have come back and he was going to be consistent, and you got a good, full, healthy season from AD and from LeBron, along the supporting cast, it should have been good enough. But it is a little surprising to me. The only thing I could point to is, particularly given the starting lineup they have right now, the bench seems particularly thin. They're very heavy in the starting lineup, and those guys have to play well. Once all those guys play well, they seem to do well. But I would say those starting 5, they don't seem to get the consistency they need.
I thought that they would have been way better than where they are.
Yeah, I thought that they would have built off of last year, and especially when you have a season where AD and Braun have been. AD has probably been the healthiest that he's been in years. So and then Braun has been relatively healthy. Yeah, he's been relatively healthy considering his age and how long he's been in the league. It's not like Braun is missing like 20 games. He can miss a game here or two dealing with knee soreness and all that. So that is surprising. And the one thing I would say about the Kings, I think what happened is that they're a young team and they were the surprise last year. This year, they have more expectations. It's you're surprising the boy, no. Exactly. So teams are gonna be like, okay, we can really come and attack this time. So I thought that was what probably happened today. Yeah, the scouting boy, where that scouting report come on?
Then that scouting report on you.
Hey, Jordan.
Is they know who can play? Who
can't? Because then when the best defender move from marking Steph and Clay, I know the marking you. Different story. Different stories.
Yeah, stories have become different.
Yeah.
Right, that is that for the NBA. But of course, you cannot go unless you have the pick 5. Last week, I would rather forget last week. But Kelan still ended up with 3 or 5, and Alan was 2 to 5, and I was 1 or 5. So
it was what?
I
can't hear you.
Right. So this week I look in the box back. Either that or no, they scored a report on me. I roll over and play Dave. Right, so game number 1. Houston at San Antonio.
Spurs.
Yeah.
Wemby's back. Sangoon is out. Wemby's back. Let's go.
Oh yeah, Shango Bell. Yeah, I probably go Spurs too, actually.
I have him on my side now. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, says everybody. Says everybody going over there against over there too. All right, and then on Wednesday, Toronto at Detroit. Toronto at Detroit.
Oh gosh.
It's not that bad.
I mean, I bought these Spurs, so that would tell you. I go with Raptors.
Kelan going to Raptors. What about
I,
you,
I
Alan?
mentioned Detroit tonight, so I can go with the guys I mentioned.
Oh, okay, so
Let's
you
go
going
Detroit.
So that is Alan. I can go to Detroit too, cause I mean they need to get some sort of love, man. I mean, like they can't just get beat up so all the time and everybody going against them.
I mean, yes, it could.
On Thursday, Phoenix at Boston is a big one. Phoenix at Boston.
Well, I mean, Boston beat Phoenix at Phoenix, so I feel like Boston can probably win the game. So
They've been struggling a little bit though.
They have.
yeah, they have been. Yeah, but I feel
Still
like they're
tough to
both
beat at
at
home.
home. Yeah, I feel they're most at home.
Yeah, still tough to beat at home. So I go Boston.
Yeah, I get in Boston too, because I really feel that to me, right now they're the best team in the NBA.
I think Devin Booker is going to be back though for that game, so that might make it a little bit more interesting. I think he's going to be back. Yeah.
Atlanta at Utah. Atlanta at Utah.
Battle of the mids once again. Ooh,
Tough one.
yeah. who is more mid?
I'll go Atlanta.
You going Atlanta? Alan going with Atlanta. What about you, Kelan?
I wonder if to pull a out here just choose the other team just because. I gotta have one. Yeah, I can pick the Jazz just because.
Jazz. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna pick the Jazz, but since you picked the Jazz, then I ain't gonna go Atlanta.
What did they pick the Jazz? So
And then the final game, Brooklyn at Indiana. I like Indiana, you don't know that.
Indy, of course.
I brought Allen over to my side on the rest, so I have to repay the favor. Let's go, Pacers. Let's go.
Let's go.
All right, I have to take a long look at this one. Brooklyn, again, brother.
What are you looking at? One team is good, the other team isn't.
So no, I was looking at that. Two people over there. I say that. Right? It wasn't that doing things, dude. Right. So that's it for our court session. For right now, the court is adjourned.
Good morning.